Welcome to your favorite sports drama podcast, The Double Dose, the drama of sports. I'm Nathan, and every week, my co-host and girlfriend Rachel and I discuss all things in the sports drama universe.
Sprinkled in with pop culture, we cover topics from Bravo to Brady and everything in between. So keep listening to find out more. Cheers.
Welcome to the 100 and Tom Brady episode of your favorite sports drama podcast, The Double Dose. I'm Nathan. Sit over here to my right. It's Miss Rachel Rooney Eden. Rachel, how art thou?
I'm doing great. How art thou?
Good. Tom Brady, GOAT episode.
Mm-hmm.
I wore his jersey last week. Was it 2 weeks ago for 10? Last week because of the Michigan fight. Wearing it again. A Patriots version of it because it's episode 112.
Oh, yeah.
Understand? Follow the correlation.
I'm following the correlation.
Why Dallas Cowboys?
Because this is my team.
That's your truth?
Yeah, and that's my truth. And see how that's your truth? Because he doesn't even play for the Patriots. You're wearing his old jersey.
Yeah.
This is my truth.
Okay.
I don't rep anybody. I just rep the team. So if anyone asks, I can just stay consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, you would never rock a CeeDee Lamb jersey?
No, of course I would.
Okay.
I'm just saying, right now in this moment of time. So, this is an exciting episode, though.
Yes, it is. Very specific episode.
It's a very specific episode. It's the first episode of its kind.
Yes.
It's an episode that we're doing that we finally have said that we're going to do what we said we're going to do. It's a playoff 101, NFL playoff 101 episode.
Yes.
This is going to be a deep dive episode into what the NFL playoffs are.
Yes.
What do they mean?
Yes.
How did we get here?
Yes.
And what comes about in the NFL playoffs? Where do they go?
Right.
Where does this journey lead to?
Right. The playoffs obviously have not started yet.
Yes.
There's 4 more games left in the season.
Preemptive episode.
Yes. There's 4 more games left in the season, but this is basically when the playoffs start because teams are fighting for their lives. We're going to give you scenarios. We're going to answer some questions.
Yeah, questions that I don't even know.
Yeah, and we're going to get you ready for the home stretch of the NFL regular season into the postseason, a.k.a. the playoffs.
Amazing.
You don't want to talk about your weekend?
No, I mean, I had a great weekend. We had the best weekend ever. We had Mike and Katrina visiting for our annual holiday weekend this past weekend. It was absolutely fantastic and fabulous. And then on Sunday, Victoria and Ryan came over. It was just literally the perfect bow onto a perfect weekend of the holiday season here in the Big Apple, New York City. What about you?
Yeah, 100%. One of my favorite weekends of the year. When Mike and Katrina come, it was tremendous. We had amazing food. We tried Coke Dock for the first time. The fried chicken place, sister or brother restaurant of Cote.
Yeah, because we're inclusive here.
We don't know how Coke Dock identifies.
Right, exactly.
We're trying to be inclusive.
Exactly. With the best fried chicken we've literally ever had.
Ever.
Period.
Yes. Such a smart concept for a restaurant.
Unreal. Champagne and chicken wings.
I didn't get any champagne, though. I got mojitos.
Yeah, but that's the lore of it. It's champagne and chicken wings. Can you go to KFC and order a bottle of Dom Perignon? No, but at Cocodac, however you say it, you can.
Yeah, I never had fried chicken of that quality before.
Yeah, I feel the only place I've had fried chicken is Chick-fil-A, Popeyes once.
I had Popeyes
Are
once.
buffalo wings, wings considered fried chicken? Is it fried? They're fried, right?
They're fried, but they're not really breaded, so I think they're separate.
A separate group.
Yeah. We're talking about breaded fried chicken.
Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Yeah.
But we're really talking.
Not a game.
We're really talking about playoffs.
Yeah, we're talking about playoffs.
This is an exciting episode.
It is. It's something you requested last week. You started asking questions about, when the playoffs start, who's going to get in, how the hell we know. And we said, all right, next week, that's all we're going to talk about.
This is an episode that I think I've requested from the jump. Obviously, I want a football 101. That's something that we've always said that we wanted to do. But a playoff 101 just the same because I genuinely don't know about the playoffs. And like, I don't think a lot of people do. Like, I think that people are just like, oh, it's playoffs. Like, what? Like, fine. But like, people have questions.
People have questions.
And the people are asking.
We're only going to focus on the NFL standpoint this week, the regular season and playoffs and how that all works. Next week, we'll go over college football playoffs. It's the first of its kind this year, college football playoffs. So we'll cover that next week as it begins next weekend. But we wanted to start with the NFL playoffs because it's been this way for a few years. And like we just mentioned, there's just so much to cover, and it really does start right now because there's so many teams fighting to get in.
Right, like we're doing like the holiday gift guide in the beginning of November. Let's like think about it like that. Like, because it's like, oh, like the holiday season's rolling around, but like we're getting ahead of it. So it's like, oh my God, like all your friends, like you don't know what's going on during the playoffs. Like, here you go. Listen to the Double Dose episode number 112.
Exactly.
And listen so you know.
Right.
And the more you know, the better you are. The smarter you are.
And then when the playoffs roll around, we'll be able to refer back to 112 and be like, this is actually who got in. This is the drama we're going to be watching.
Exactly.
It'll give us a better view of what the heck's going on.
Like a study guide for a test.
Exactly. This is like the syllabus, and then that's going to be like the study guide.
Sure. Okay, sure. Okay, well, then let's get into it. Let's
do it.
Get right in.
So, NFL playoffs. To understand the structure of the NFL playoffs, you first have to understand the structure of the NFL itself, the league.
The National Football League.
National Football League.
Right.
It's divided into two conferences. The American Football Conference on one side, the National Football Conference on the other side. AFC versus NFC.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Those two sides meet in the Super Bowl. The best team from the NFC meets the best team from the AFC. Meets in the Super Bowl every year. Okay? But how do we get there? How do we find our two magic teams? So, getting back to the structure, both conferences are divided up into four divisions each. So each conference has four divisions: North, South, East, and West. Make sense?
It does.
So within those four conferences, there are four teams.
Okay.
Okay? So that equals 8 conferences total, 32 teams.
Okay.
Okay? At the end of the season, the team with the best record in each division wins the division, obviously.
Okay.
And they get an automatic playoff bid.
So the team in each North, South, East, and West, once they win that, they'll be like King of the North, King of the South,
Perfect.
King of the East, King of the West.
Yes.
Or Queen, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. When Game of Thrones was really popular, like the year that it was like the finale, the last year of Game of Thrones, that was on the t-shirts that they gave out to all the division championships. It said King of the East, King of the North, King of the South.
Cute. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that means that we're at the end of the season. 4 teams are automatically in from the winner of each division.
Okay. Right.
On each side.
Okay. Understood.
Okay. And within those 4 teams, obviously they're ranked 1 through 4. The number 1 team gets a bye, so they don't have to play in the first round of the playoffs, the wild card round. They get a bye. They go right to the division round. And they have home field advantage. So that means throughout the playoffs until the Super Bowl, they'll play every game at home, which is an advantage because you don't have to travel. You have your home.
Okay, you're just throwing a lot at me at first. Let's just first do structure of the NFL.
Okay, structure of the NFL. The only thing to wrap up there is that, so with the 4 division winners, the next 3 best teams in each conference get wild card spots.
Okay,
so they're considered the wild cards.
So it's split up into 2, the AFC, the NFC. Mm-hmm. 4 North, South, East, West. 4 teams in each North, South, East, West.
Yep, the divisions.
Now, there's 4 winners, like you said. And then there's, how do they decide who's the best out of them?
The ones with the best records.
Okay. And then from there, you kind of explained a little bit last week, but can you explain the wild cards, like how they decide?
Yes. So, wild cards. They're going to be the next 3 best teams in each conference. So it doesn't matter which division you're in.
Okay.
It just matters what conference you're in. They're going to pick the next 3 best records.
Okay.
And they're going to be the wild card teams.
Okay.
So the wild card teams, they play in the wild card round against the 3 division winners, seeds 2, 3, and 4. They'll play them and they'll play at the division winners' place in the wild card round at their home stadium.
Okay.
And there you go.
I see there was a sentence that I wrote down when referencing a wild card, and it says the wild card is like the underdog who sneaks into the party late but might steal the show.
Yes.
So they are still playing the people that have won their respective divisions.
Yeah.
But they could still
Here,
win.
I'll give you a good example. So right now, we'll get into like the playoff scenarios, but the best way to explain the wild card, I feel, is to describe the NFC North.
Okay.
So the NFC North, it's the Bears, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers.
Okay.
Okay? The Lions currently only have 1 loss. Okay? The Lions are 12-1.
Okay.
Okay? But the next best team in their division is the Vikings that only has 2 losses.
Okay.
So the Vikings still deserve to be in the playoffs, right?
Okay.
All because there's just a better team in their division doesn't mean that they shouldn't make the playoffs. They're still good enough to be in the playoffs, so they're in.
Okay.
Because they have the second best record.
Okay.
It's just that they're not a division winner because they're in the same division as the best team.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
The same thing with the Packers. The Packers are most likely going to make the playoffs from that division as well.
Understood. Now, to go over this first, is there a difference between the AFC and the NFC, like teams based on location, or they just like separated it?
They just divided it down the middle. Like the Jets.
Like you go here, you go there, you go here, you go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like in most like the cities that have 2 teams, like LA, New York, for example, they'll divide those cities up.
Okay.
So the Giants are in the NFC, the Jets are in the AFC.
Okay.
The Chargers are in the AFC, the Rams are in the NFC.
Okay. Okay. Do you think we should go over each team that's in which respective place or no?
We'll go through like the current standings and like what's gonna happen, what we think is gonna happen, how the rest of it's gonna play out.
Oh, I just mean like period, like AFC, NFC.
What do you mean? Like go through each team?
Yeah, like who's in which division or whatever, or no?
We can, but we're gonna go over that when we go over the rankings.
Oh, okay,
like the
sorry.
current rankings.
Just a lot of information being thrown. I'm not a good teacher, maybe,
Yeah.
but you are.
But
so.
one question you asked before the pod was if these teams that are the wild card teams, if they really have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
They do. The last time this happened was in 2020 when Tom Brady went down to Tampa Bay and they did not win their division. They got a wild card spot, but they ended up winning the whole thing.
Okay.
Won the Super Bowl. It happened also in 2010 with the Green Bay Packers and in 2007 with the New York Giants.
Okay, so let's back it up first before we get into all that stuff. For the playoffs, at what point during the season do the playoffs start?
At the end of the regular season. So there's 17 weeks. Well, 18 weeks in the regular season. They play 17 games. Each team has 1 bye. So it's 18 weeks, and then the playoffs start.
Okay, so after the 18th week of the NFL,
Yeah.
the playoffs begin.
Yeah.
And 7 teams from each section go.
Yeah, each conference.
From each conference go.
Yeah.
And then how many weeks of the playoffs are there?
So there's wild card round,
Okay.
divisional round, conference championship round, and then
Okay.
the Super Bowl.
So wild card round, is that the rounds that only the wild cards play in? And there's 3 games? How does that work?
So there's 3 games on each side.
Okay. In 1 week?
Yes.
Okay.
So like we said, the number 1 team gets the bye.
Right.
So right now it's supposed to be the Chiefs and the Lions. They're the number 1 teams on each side.
Okay.
They're not going to play in the wild card round. They're going to go straight to the divisional round. Okay?
Okay.
So then
the number 1 team from the AFC is the Chiefs, and the number 1 seed from the NFC is the Lions.
Currently,
because
right
they
now.
have the best records.
Currently, right now, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They are not going to play the first week of the playoffs.
No. They will go straight to the second round.
And the bye week, they'll have a bye week.
Yes. Yes.
And that just means that they just rest for a week. They don't play. They just take a chill pill so that they can come back to the next week better.
Yeah. It's very valuable.
The quote that I've seen about the bye week is skipping a group project and going straight to the final presentation.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to play that 1 week.
Yeah, and it's actually very valuable because anything can happen in these games. It's not like the other sports where it's a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 game.
Okay.
So if you have 1 bad game, you're out, right?
Right.
So it gets you out of that situation for a week. But it also, football is a physical sport. It's a violent sport. A lot of these players and teams are banged up, so it gives them a week to rest.
So it's like the playoffs is like do or die, though, right? It's like what is it? Win or be eliminated? What is that?
Yeah, win or go home.
So playoffs, win or go home.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wild card week, they verse the people,
The other
the three other teams.
The division winners. Yes.
Got it.
So the number 2 seed currently right now in the AFC is Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Okay. So the Buffalo Bills, let's say the season ends and they're still a number 2 seed.
Yeah.
They'll play the number 7 seed, so the last wild card team. They'll play the worst team that's going to get in the playoffs on their side. So right now that would be the Broncos.
Okay.
Okay. The 3rd team right now is the Steelers. They would play the 6th seed, which is right now the Chargers, and then the Texans currently are the 4th seed. They would be playing the Ravens.
Okay.
The 5th seed. So the higher seed you are, the lower seed you play.
Right. And seed is just another word for ranking.
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you're a better team, so like if you're number 2, you verse the number 7 seed because you have a better chance at winning.
Yes.
Okay. Understood. Understood.
Right.
Understood.
And that format stays consistent throughout the playoffs. So like let's say the Bills beat the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
The
number 2 beats number 7.
Number 2 beats number 7. Okay. Number 2, it's not a bracket format where number 2 would play number 1, the Chiefs.
Okay.
Number 1, the Chiefs will play the lowest remaining seed or ranking
out of that.
Whoever survives the wild card round.
Got it.
So let's say all the division winners win. Let's say.
Okay.
The Chiefs will play number 1 will play number 4. Number 2 will play number 3.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say number 4 beats number 5. Number 3 beats number 6, and number 7 beats number 2. The 7th seed will play the 7th seed will play the Chiefs.
Right.
And then the other 2 teams.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So the big deal on the bye is because, like you said, that they like football, like the time to rest, especially if you're like the best team, like that's like a lot of help, right? Like moving forward, like
yes.
And this is another rest week, another bye week or whatever, in addition to their regular season bye, right?
Right.
Okay.
So it's like a bonus. It's a bonus vacation week.
Okay. So what's the difference between like the next round after the wild card round? Because how many rounds are there? So there's a wild card round, divisional round,
conference championship,
and then the Super Bowl?
Yep.
So what's the difference between the divisional and conference championship?
So the divisional round is just a name that they give for the second round.
But why would they have to say divisional and then conference championship? Like, why can't they just say like?
Because it goes with like the same structure as the playoffs. So right, the lowest ranking is the wild card, so that's the first round.
Okay.
Right, and that's the round that the wild card teams play.
Okay.
Okay. Then you move on to the next round. Should really be the divisional winners. So it's the divisional round.
Got it. Okay.
And then the conference championship, that's what the game's called. It's the conference championship. So
okay.
Like, if you make it to that round, you win that game, you're going to the Super Bowl, you're going to represent your conference. So you won your conference if you win that game.
Okay, so each week, how many games are being played?
Good question. So total or per conference?
Total.
Total. So there'll be 6 games in the wild card round.
Right.
So they'll have all the NFC teams play on Saturday, all the AFC teams play on Sunday,
Okay.
or vice versa.
Okay.
Okay, and then there'll be 4 total games, 2 for each side in the divisional round.
Okay.
And then 1 total game on each side of the conference championship round.
And then,
they
the
meet
Super Bowl.
in the Super Bowl.
Understood. So it's like I'm just trying to like. Is there any other question that like I have about this? You were doing a very good job at explaining it. I never knew any of this for real. Like I never knew any of this. Like I'm like really trying to like I'm trying to make it as like clear and concise as possible.
No,
So
just
it's
fire
like
off questions, even if you feel like it's a stupid question. Just fire up questions. I'm here to help, here to answer.
thank you for being
I'm
here to help.
I'm here to fill any gaps, if you will.
Thank you. Well, I feel like let's get into it. Like I feel like you explained it very like at least the bare bones of it very well. Do you want to get into like who exactly is in which spot right now?
Yes. Right, and like you said, it's all right now. Each team has played 13 games, right? So they're gonna play 4 more.
Right.
So
which could change everything.
It could change everything.
Right.
Like the number one, like the Chiefs could go on a 4-game losing streak and drop down the rankings.
Right.
Anything could happen. Right. But this is as of right now.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Do.
Is that Haley Seinfeld?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But
okay, so we're looking at the AFC first. As we mentioned, right now it's Kansas City Chiefs are number 1. They have a 12-1 record.
Okay, so they've won 12 games, lost 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a firm hold on that number 1 seed. Why? Because the next best team in their division, in their conference, is the Buffalo Bills, and they have 3 losses.
Okay.
Okay, so they're 10-3. So that means that the Chiefs are ahead by 2 games. So they have a bit of a cushion there.
Okay.
Okay. And then the Steelers are in the lead of their division, which is surprising, right? Because a lot of people thought that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson would take that spot. So it's very surprising that the Steelers are winning their division right now.
Because they're in the same division in the AFC North as the Ravens.
Yes, they're in the same division as the Ravens and the Bengals. So it's also big for the Steelers that the Bengals are having a bad season because it gives them more opportunity to do well as well.
Okay.
And then 4 is the Texans. They play in the AFC South, and their division is just poopy.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So like they don't have much competition.
Is it normal to have like an entirely bad like division?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's always 1 or 2.
But is it normal like if it's like all the teams are bad or all the teams are good?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Like a few years ago, it was the NFC West. I think was the most recent one where all the teams in the division had a losing record, so they had more losses than wins. So like one of the division winners that made the playoffs as a 4th seed had a losing record.
Why?
Because that's just how it shook out. Everyone in the division was bad.
But like, is everyone in the division bad for a reason? You know what I mean?
No, it's just like it just so happened to be that way that season.
Got it.
Like just every team in those 4 teams just were poopy that year.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I think it even happened actually Tom Brady's last season in Tampa. I believe that they got in with a losing record as well because everybody in their division was poopy.
Okay, amazing. And now the NFC.
Yeah, but staying in the AFC.
Oh, okay.
The 3 teams right now currently in the wild card spots are the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Broncos, all at 8-5.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Okay, so they're all tied for that spot.
Okay.
And the next 2 teams behind them are 6-7, the Colts and the Dolphins. So the Colts and the Dolphins are 2 games behind these 3 teams. So like they also have a steady hand. They have a steady hold of their spots. So they should be okay moving forward as well. Basically, the Dolphins and the Colts need to win the rest of their games to have a shot and need one of those 3 teams to lose.
Okay, interesting.
Okay. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, so the NFC, Detroit, like we said, is number 1 right now. The Eagles are number 2 at 11-2, so they're only one game behind the Lions. The Lions
Right.
are 12-1.
Do you feel like it's like helpful to like say who's in which conference, like which teams are in which AFC conference, which teams are in the NFC?
I feel like there's just too much information because a lot of them. Right now, we're eliminating half the league, so we're only going to talk about half the amount of teams.
Okay.
Like, we don't have to talk about the teams like the Patriots, the Jets.
Yeah, because there's just like no rhyme or reason to it.
What do you mean?
Like I just feel like the AFC North and the NFC North, like it's just like no, like it's just like little. It's a little like what they just seem like a little rando.
They're not rando. So let's go over the 2 North conferences then, divisions rather. So,
Like the C is Chicago, but the Bengals Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's a C.
Oh, you're talking about the logos?
No, like I'm saying, like in terms of like, like A, B, C, D, E. Like you go to AFC, you go to NFC, you go to AFC, you go to NFC.
Oh, right. Well, this, the which team aligns in which conference goes all the way back to the 1940s, because
They took out a map and did this shit. But like, what if a new team comes up? Like, then what team are they going to be a part of?
Okay, great question. So,
Thank you.
The way this all started,
you're asking great questions.
The way this all started is that there was really 2 completely different leagues. The NFL was one league, and the AFL, the American Football League, was a completely different league.
Okay.
Okay. And then they merged.
Okay.
When they merged, the teams that were in the NFL, they stayed in the NFL, and the teams that were the AFL stayed in the AFL, and that's kind of set up the structure for history. Now, there's been teams that go back and forth or get realigned, but that, like the Detroit Lions, for example, have always been part of the national side of things.
Okay.
The Patriots have always been part of the American side of things because they always have been. The Green Bay Packers have always been part of the national side of things.
Okay, this makes sense. This makes more sense.
Yeah.
So just it's just mergers and acquisitions here.
Basically
Yeah.
mergers.
It
goes back in the
mergers.
1940s. They were 2 different leagues completely. Then
Okay.
they merged.
Okay.
And so that's what set up the structure.
Okay, girl. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. That makes sense. It makes sense. Okay, cool. Amazing.
So if a new team gets added to the NFL, which I'm not sure will happen anytime soon, but it could, there will just be one division and one conference that have one extra team.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's get into some other questions that I have for you.
Hit me with them.
Okay. Let's start off with some player drama. Which NFL player is the most at stake during these playoffs?
So once again, this may change.
Okay.
There are a lot of players right now, or a lot of teams right now that are battling for playoff spots that are dealing with a whole lot of pressure.
Okay.
Okay, so like let's take the Ravens for example.
Okay.
Okay, so they're not having they're having a slightly disappointing year. They're 8-5 right now, but the whole thing with Lamar Jackson, he has a lot of pressure.
Their quarterback.
Their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, he has a lot of pressure. He's won multiple MVPs. He's one of the faces of the league. He's an incredible quarterback, incredible athlete, incredible person, incredible just football player.
Just incredible with a bow on top.
Exactly. He's accomplished everything in his football career. Dating back to college, he won the Heisman Trophy. Okay, but the one thing he's never done is win a championship.
Period. Like the conference championship.
He's never made. Yeah.
Never made to the playoffs.
He's made it to the playoffs. Never made it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And never won the Super Bowl, obviously.
Okay.
And he never won a national championship in college.
Okay.
So like someone like him, there's a lot at stake.
Okay.
Now, if you're just looking at it, I think another interesting one is Russell Wilson with the Pittsburgh Steelers, because there was a lot of talk throughout the season if he should even be the quarterback of this team, if he should even be playing quarterback in the league, and the team is 10-3 with a great record and leading their division. So like that is something that, like, okay, maybe he still has some juice in it.
Right.
But then you look at Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Josh Allen has similar criticism receives similar criticism than Lamar Jackson does, because he has all the stats. He's an amazing quarterback. He has a big contract. He's a great leader. But the thing is, he just can't get over that hump. He can't get past Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that, it's like, what was your favorite video game growing up?
Video game?
Yeah, like Pac-Man.
Okay, sure. We'll do Pac-Man.
You ever play Pac-Man?
Of course I played Pac-Man.
Okay, so the way
I'm alive. Everyone's played Pac-Man.
So you take Pac-Man.
Yeah, the
Video
yellow
game.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
So like Josh Allen.
Wow.
So Josh Allen always gets through that first round flying colors. Never
Yeah.
even gets touched.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, he gets past it too easily. But he never gets past that next round, that third round, the conference championship. He never gets past that because there's just one big monster that he can't get past, and that monster's name is Patrick Mahomes.
Wow. So Patrick Mahomes is like Josh Allen's kryptonite?
Correct, Mundo.
Wow. Sad. Are there any teams where locker room drama could spill over into the games? These
Yes.
are questions that I had written down, so I don't know why they sound like a little weird when I'm asking them.
They don't sound weird at all.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. Are there any teams where locker room drama is spilling over?
Yes. And actually, a lot of this news dropped this morning. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh no!
And I think they're the team with the most at stake right now.
What's their record?
They have a good record. They're 11-2. They currently have the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Okay.
They're going to win their division. There's no question about that.
Okay.
But the drama is that their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, everything always comes back to the quarterback. Him and their number 1 receiver, A.J. Brown, are not seeing eye to eye.
Okay.
So, they won this past weekend. But they were both, A.J. Brown and Hurts were both asked after the game, how do you feel about the win? How do you feel about the team? What do you think you guys can improve on? And they both sounded very mopey and, not happy. And A.J. Brown just had a one-word answer. He just said passing. And
so he's blaming it on Jalen Hurts.
In one way or another, yes.
Passing. The only person who passes it is the quarterback.
Correct. So there's a third Eagles player, a leader on the team. He's been there forever. His name's Brandon Graham. He just 2 weeks ago, he suffered an injury where he's out for the season. But he went on a radio show or a podcast yesterday. And basically he said that there is a huge disagreement, and everybody on the team knows, and everybody around the team knows that there's a huge disagreement between A.J. Brown and Hurts, and that they do not do a good job of hiding it, and that he believes that the person complaining, who he says is A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown's complaining, but not willing to have a conversation with, a constructive conversation with Hurts.
Stubborn.
He's just pointing the finger. According to what Graham says. And so he believes, as a member of the team, that they need to figure that out for them to be successful.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like there's probably more that goes into it, right?
Well, I'm sure there's a shit ton more that, even he said, I don't even know the whole story. He's because they're the offense, we're the defense. We don't spend much time with them on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
But he just explained that he understands that there's a big issue there, that it needs to be figured out, and that they just.
Well, the other guy can't just point the finger and not take any accountability either.
A.J. Brown. Yeah, but that is what happens when you have high-profile receivers at times. It's just the receivers rely on the quarterbacks to get them the ball.
Right.
So when the receiver is not getting the ball, there's only one person for him to look at. Because...
And what's Jalen Hurts saying about all of this?
That they just need to improve.
Got a good head on his shoulders. He's been media trained.
Yeah, he's much more polished media-wise.
Yeah.
But...
Maybe he's also just a good guy.
But it doesn't mean that A.J. Brown's not a good guy.
Right.
AJ from playing devil's advocate, AJ Brown, his whole point of view is like, this is my job. This is how I can help the team.
Right.
I don't feel like I'm helping my team because I'm not given the opportunity to help the team. You know what I mean? It's like
they're just not seeing eye to eye.
they're just not seeing eye to eye. And so they need to figure that out. And you can kind of see it. I just think that it's similar to what I was saying about San Francisco a few weeks ago. Philadelphia fits this mold where it's just there's too many alpha males.
Got it.
Both of those dudes are alpha males. Their head coach is an alpha male. Like, he's probably the head coach that has the most to lose. Like, they wanted to fire him at the beginning of the season when they were 1-2. They've gone on a 9-game winning streak. But the first game they started winning is like we talked about in the pod. Like, he was yelling at a fan in the he was yelling at the fans in the stands,
Right.
being like, "I'm him. Like, I'm the coach. Like, shut the fuck up," basically, because he heard the media, he heard the fans.
Right. But then he came out and gave a 9-game
Winning streak.
Right.
Right.
That's kind of crazy.
It's crazy. But why is the team still not happy?
Yeah, but why are they winning now?
Because they're a tremendous team. They're an amazing team.
Oh.
They just have great players all around.
Got off to a bad start.
They got off to a bad start,
Rocky. They need some coffee.
but it's still rocky. Like, they're getting the results, but they're not happy. And like I truly believe, and this is something that Pat McAfee says a lot, and I agree with him. Is it's the fact that like teams that win the Super Bowl typically like each other. Like teams that win championships, like it's such a grind, it's such a long road that like
Right.
this bullshit, like every team has it. Like there's gonna
Right.
be some sort of adversity, but you have to be able to get past that to get to hit
Right.
the mountaintop.
Right. You need to gel together.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. A well-oiled machine, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, then let's get into, as you're saying, all of this bad vibes or whatever, the mumbo jumbo. If a team unexpectedly like crashes out early, whose fault will the media blame it on, you think?
Depends on the team, right? So this is something we could probably talk about closer to the playoff starting.
Yeah.
We'll probably have a better picture of like who's
Who's
in
who. Mm-hmm.
and like what potential pitfalls could they hit. But like I was just saying, everything comes back to the quarterback. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much they lost, what happens in that game. Everything comes back to the quarterback. That's the first player everybody looks at. After that, it's the head coach.
Right.
Or sometimes head coach first if they make a big mistake like that coach made on Thanksgiving for Chicago.
Right.
Then they'll point at the coach first. But typically, everything comes back to the quarterback, rightfully or wrongfully.
She's just kind of a lot of weight to put on their shoulders.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
It's very true. It's very true. So who's the Cinderella story of the playoff? And who is the villain that everybody loves to hate?
So
I can give you my POV of the last one.
hit me.
But I feel like it's like a double, like it's like a both. I feel like the villain of the playoffs is the Chiefs because like they've won and they keep winning and whatever, and everyone's kind of like over it, which is like so funny because like so quickly everyone gets over these things.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it'd be like the Cinderella story because it's like they win again, you know, and now it's like a dynasty or whatever.
Right, and they have the Swifties on their side.
Right. So, but what about you? Like, the Cinderella story last year, I remember, was kind of like the Lions, right? And then they got out because it was like their first time ever, like in the playoffs since something.
Yeah,
Since like the 50s or something like that.
Yeah.
60s, something crazy. But who was it this year? Like, I honestly am so out of touch with football this year. Like, you need to keep me in the loop.
I'd honestly give you those same two teams.
The Lions and the Chiefs again?
Yeah. So the Lions. So first of all, the Chiefs, yes, they're the villain. No matter what sport it is, somebody that wins, the team that wins often, they're always the hated team.
Right.
Like if someone's at top, everybody wants to break them down. It's
But
just
the
like,
Lions are at the same. They're at the same.
The Lions are at the top of their conference, yes. But I feel like it's a continuation of their story last year.
Right. Like they're at it again.
And like everybody, it's similar with the Bills, where it's like Detroit and Buffalo, like neither team has ever won a Super Bowl. Ever. So like it'd just be a
Buffalo Bills have never won a Super Bowl?
No, they went to
Seems
in
like
the
it.
90s. They went to 3 in a row and lost all
Stop.
3.
Oh my God, that's actually terrible.
Yes.
Could you imagine being a Bills fan during that period of time?
No.
Yee.
No.
Well, they're back though.
They're back. But I think like historically, those are the three. Those are like two teams that even if that's your rival, like the Bills are one of the Patriots rivals. Like shit. Like, I'd like to see Buffalo win a Super Bowl just because, like, it's never happened before.
Right.
And they've gone through so much shit. You know what I mean? Same thing with Detroit. I'd like to see Detroit win one.
Right.
So, like, historically, those are the historical Cinderella stories. More specifically, of just focusing on this year, I would go, like, we already mentioned the Steelers. Like, they weren't expected to be here.
Yeah, they're just like a good team this year, question mark?
So they're always a solid team.
Okay.
Like, underneath their head coach, Mike Tomlin, they've never had a losing record. Ever.
I'm just like annoyed with like the Steelers because I was at Viore, you know, the workhouse store, buying some Christmas gifts. And the girl that was like trying to help me out there was so fucking annoying, and she was wearing a Steelers hat, and I literally was just like, I can't deal with the team. So I've written off the entire team because this girl wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. So I was just like, get your dumb ass hat off. It's a dumb team, and get out of here.
I love it. I don't like the Steelers either.
So that's how I feel. Yeah, fuck the Steelers.
So we don't want them to be a Cinderella at all.
Yeah.
And they've won enough Super Bowls.
She's not the Cinderella for me, and it's not the Cinderella in my story.
No, not at all. But
not at all.
Honestly, in the on the National Football in the NFC, honestly, there's a couple. The Bucks, right, with Baker Mayfield.
Ugh, no, I'm not. Nope. Crybaby Baker. Don't need him doing anything.
One more. Then a more interesting one is the Minnesota Vikings. Why? Because, once again, everything comes back to the quarterback. They got rid of their quarterback in the offseason.
Patrick would be so happy. And Sal.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be so happy with the Vikings.
They are so happy with the Vikings still. And then, so they get rid of their quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
My God, yeah, they got rid of Kirky.
They got rid of Kirk.
Lurk.
And then what did they do? They drafted J.J. McCarthy. He was supposed to be the savior.
And he wasn't?
He got hurt in the preseason.
Got hurt. I remember this.
He needed season-ending knee surgery in the preseason. In steps Sam Darnold, who he himself is the Cinderella story, I believe.
Aw, why?
He has had a long career. He was highly touted coming out of college. I think he was picked second or third overall by the New York Jets.
Oh, God.
Thrusted into that starting quarterback situation for the Jets. Could not have gone worse. Just think about everything that happened to Zach Wilson happened to Sam Darnold already.
Okay.
He just crashed and burned.
Okay.
They trade him to Carolina. Has a couple good games. But then Carolina brings in Baker Mayfield. And then they go back and forth. Never really finds his footing in Carolina. Contract expires. He goes to San Francisco and becomes the backup quarterback in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I think that's the best thing that he ever did. Why? Because ever since he's been in the NFL, he's been like trying to catch a breath. You know what I mean? Like, but he's been put in an uncomfortable situation, and like it started off with the New York media, with all the pressure that comes with being the Jets quarterback, all that stuff. And then he goes into Carolina. It's supposed to be more of a chill environment, but he's still the starting quarterback, and he's still in a bad situation. And then they bring in another starting quarterback for him to compete with.
Bad.
And it's like he just can't get comfortable.
Right.
So then he just takes a deep breath. It's like, all right, I will be the number 2 guy. I'll take a deep breath. I'll learn for a year, and then see how everything goes. So he learns in San Francisco. Obviously, they've been great the last few years. They were great last year, and he was the backup quarterback there. And he took all that learning, got his opportunity in Minnesota this year, and he's proving that he's more than a capable quarterback.
I think he's quicker. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because he's colder. When you're cold, you like snap the ball.
You think he's cold because he's in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think he's cold because he's in Minnesota. Jackie told me when she went to Minnesota for a game one time, they stepped outside and her boogers or her snot froze.
Really?
Yeah, she said like that's how cold it is there.
Sheesh.
So I think that like when he throws the ball like quicker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than he would like
it's possible
anywhere else. Like not in New York.
Hey, it's possible.
Not in Carolina. Definitely not in San Francisco. Are you getting the same cool chill as Minnesota?
Yeah, the only devil's advocate I'll give to you is that they play in a dome in Minnesota. So it's controlled temperature.
No, but he's so cold, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, from his walk into the stadium.
Right, from the walk into the stadium, I think it really just sends that chill down his spine. It makes you want to, it has a twitch.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, I'm cheering for him. I want him to do well. But you just sparked another thing that's very important that I mentioned in passing.
Cold weather?
Yes. In the playoffs is home field advantage.
Oh, okay.
We mentioned the fans. We mentioned sleeping in your own bed.
Right.
Being in a familiar environment, playing in front of your fans. All that's good. But the weather. Like, think about if you're, like, the freaking Miami. I mean, the Miami Dolphins aren't in it, but think about any team. Think about any warm weather team having to go into Buffalo.
Right. Well, I remember, like, last week or 2 weeks ago, when Buffalo Bills had that huge snow game, they were reversing the 49ers. And I remember because
Yes.
Claire Kittle posted that she was in a snowsuit.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. But I was like, oh my God, the 49ers are at the Bills Stadium because she's in a snowsuit.
Exactly. So in San Francisco, they got dominated that game because they're not used to playing in the snow. They're not used to playing in the cold.
Right.
Like, they're just not used to it.
So if you are in a seed and you're not a wild card, you get home field advantage?
Yes, the higher seed you are, the more home field advantage you get. So if you're
Understood.
So if like Buffalo's the number 2 seed right now,
right?
So they'll play at home until they have to play the Chiefs.
Okay, got it. Until you have to play the Super Bowl, which is already figured out for you.
Yeah, it's a neutral site.
Right. Understood. So let's get into some celeb news. Celeb. Part of the only reason why I'm watching the NFL playoffs. Are you excited to see any celebs on the sidelines? Are you excited to see Taylor Swift? Are you excited to see Haley Steinfeld, the new fiance of Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen? I almost said Josh Burrow. Are you excited to see these gals? Claire Kittle, Christian Juszczyk. Are you excited?
I think you're a little bit more excited than I am. I mean, sure.
Alex Earl?
They won't be there.
Whatever. Well, are you excited?
I mean, I'm excited for football. A lot of these teams, they don't have the most exciting celebrities. It's like basketball. Where like they're sitting it's courtside.
They're sitting in the boxes, though.
They're sitting in the boxes, sure, but
sure.
But it's just not like a seen and be seen type of thing.
Okay.
Different environment.
Okay.
But if I had to choose one celebrity I'm excited to see, it's Eminem for Detroit.
His palms will be sweaty.
Yes.
His palms will be sweaty up in Detroit.
His knees will weak.
His knees will be weak. His palms will be sweaty when he's watching his team because they're definitely going to the playoffs.
They'll be in the playoffs.
Again, in speculation, like all of the teams that we're talking about, except for really the Chiefs and the Lions, are speculation.
And the Bills.
Oh, okay. All the rest are speculation, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that players, like, in their head are like, we need to win one more game and we can go to the playoffs? We win this game. Like, or do you think players don't even think about how many games they've won and lost?
Well, it depends on the player.
Like, they're just playing.
Depends on the player. Like, for example, Puka Nacua, who's a wide receiver for the Rams. They're trying to turn their season around, and currently they're not in a playoff spot. But if they keep on winning, they will be in a playoff spot. They just won a big game against the Bills this last week. He was asked on the Pat McAfee show, like, if he's aware of their playoff situation.
Oh, okay. So that is a question to ask.
Definitely. And
okay.
He said he wasn't. He said, like, all I know is that, like, if we continue to win, we'll be in. So, like...
Oh, so, like, coaches don't say, like, you need to win these 2 games to get into the playoffs. Like, they don't really, like, emphasize that?
I'm sure some do. Or, like, even, like, maybe not the head coach, but, like, their positional coaches would be like, yo, this is the situation. Like, we need this game. This is the reason why we need this game. But...
That's interesting. I thought that, like, they would all be, like...
Hyper aware?
Yeah, like, hyper aware.
I'm sure in a lot of ways, a lot of them are.
Mm-hmm.
But even Puka Nacua, I'm sure he is. But, like, he's not going to say that on, like, interview. Like, yeah, I know exactly where we are. We need.
Why? Why wouldn't you say that in an interview? Like, then you just sound prepared.
Just like.
They're just vibing more? It's like for the vibe?
Yeah, for the vibe. He's like a Samoan, like.
Oh, okay.
Island dog. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's an island dog?
He's like my dog, like a dog.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He's got that dog in him.
Sure. Let's think of my other questions.
But I do have a
that
good celebrity
wrote.
story. You asked me to think of one earlier.
Yeah. Think of one.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mm-hmm.
Hate him.
You hate him.
Hate him.
Why?
He's from Boston.
He's a Patriots fan.
Patriot. So he says.
So he says.
They were playing the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons
Mm-hmm.
back in 2017 or 2018, something like that. And they went down 28-3. And he was at the Super Bowl sitting in Kraft's box, and he split when they were losing.
Not the game to be splitting, by the way. Like the Super Bowl, like you just stay for like the halftime. You stay for like because it's the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah, you stay for everything. Stay for it
you
all.
say.
You don't.
Do they play the ads on the jumbotron?
Some of them.
Okay.
Some of them.
Okay.
I was surprised when I went to the Super Bowl that you didn't see as many ads as you thought.
Yeah, you would think, right? Because it's like that's like the thing, like
A
Super
lot
Bowl
of
ads.
a lot of downtime at the Super Bowl when you're there.
Yeah.
A lot of downtime.
It's for the TV viewers.
It's strictly for
But
TV
also,
viewers.
like, why? Like, if he's at the Super Bowl, like, be grateful that your team's at the Super Bowl, regardless. Like, you have to stand by it. Like,
Yeah,
if you're
spoiled Patriots fan. He's
yeah,
a spoiled Patriots fan.
spoiled B.
And he left. And for that reason, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And for
so
that
is
reason,
he.
I have not.
Split.
I always had my questions about Mark Wahlberg.
Because why? Because of Wahlburgers.
Wahlburger sucks.
I've never been.
Also, just his whole demeanor, like, is just throws me off. Like, for example, like he pretends to be like this big like church guy and like do better, be the best you can be, whatever. Like literally, when he was in his early 20s, he was arrested for like aggravated assault and battery and like.
Okay, well,
burglary.
maybe he's like becoming a new human being. Like, don't you think people can change?
They can, but I think it also helps that he just became rich.
Okay, that's a whole different conversation about you and your hatred towards Mark Wahlberg. We're here talking about the NFL playoffs, okay? Happy? Okay, well,
Story that
amazing.
you asked for.
I didn't ask about your whole friggin' soliloquy about Mark Wahlberg.
It also bothers me how
Okay.
he created a movie called Patriots Day, both the Boston Marathon bombings, and like he made it all about himself.
Okay. I'm sorry that you had that experience with Mark Wahlberg. Well,
I don't
I'm
like him.
excited to
I don't like
see
him.
the
like him.
girly swirlies show up for their men.
Which girly swirlies are you most excited to see? Claire Kittle will not be there.
Claire Kittle will not be there, to which I'm sad. I'm looking forward to seeing Taylor Swift again, like, you know, rocking out and doing her thing. I am curious because there is news that have come out from you, and that I think that I saw already that Joey Burr had broken up with his lady that we had thought that he was together with for like a long time, and now he's with somebody else. How would anybody know? He doesn't even post about them. It's so weird.
Yeah.
After his Batmobile, he's going in his Batmobile to meet his new lady.
Yeah.
His new lady is no one other than Canton. Someone Canton. What's her name?
Olivia Ponton?
Oh, Canton. Pontoon? Pontoon? Yeah. Who knows? She's like Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Like, she's a model. She's absolutely stunning, of course. And so, like, they're together doing a little thing, like, speculation. Like, maybe she'll be showing up for him? Question mark?
He won't be, there's a good chance he won't be in the playoffs either.
The Bengals?
Yeah.
They're bad?
They're bad this year, yeah.
That's surprising.
I mean, they have a slim chance, but they have to win the rest of the games. They need some help.
Oh, well, maybe the coach needs to get on them and tell them how many games they need to win.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. But did you see how, like, that those rumors come out? I know we're talking about the playoffs, but did you see that? That's crazy. Basically, his house was burglarized when they were playing on Monday Night Football.
What are you talking about? Who?
Joe Burrows.
Wait, what? No, I didn't see this. What are you talking about?
That's how like all these rumors came out about him and her.
Wait, why?
Because he was playing on Monday Night Football.
Okay.
And she got to his house and realized that people broke in, and she's the one that called the police.
Oh my God, that is so fucking scary.
Yeah.
These boys need to be like really careful because I feel like this is happening very frequently now.
It's a new thing going on where like these thieves are scheduling their like whenever they steal from these players when they're playing these games. Happened to Patrick Mahomes, happened to Travis Kelce. Now it happened to Joe Burrow.
They need like 24-hour security. That's a little crazy.
Yeah, I think it's something that the NFL should pay for. I don't think the players should be having to be paying for this stuff. Like, protect us. Protect like how are we gonna put the best product in the field if you're not gonna make sure like our families and loved ones are safe at home?
Scary. That is very scary.
That's how all these rumors came out. She's the one that called the police. And she
Understood.
in the police report she said that she was his employee.
Because he's paying her?
I think that she didn't know what to say in the moment.
Oh my God. She was like, I'm his employee. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can't just say that's my friend.
I don't know. Maybe she.
Interesting.
I'm sure she was super nervous.
I'm sure.
Not the clearest time to be thinking.
But other than that, there's also something. Is there the MVP of the NFL or is there an MVP of the Super Bowl?
Both.
Okay, so can you give me a little rundown on the MVP of the NFL? Like, what is it? How do you get it? Why is there two? Like, why is there MVP regular, MVP Super Bowl? Why is there?
Because MVP of the NFL is typically based off the performance during the regular season.
Okay.
And then the Super Bowl is.
Are they usually the same person?
No.
Has it ever been the same person?
I'm not sure. I highly doubt it.
Who votes on the regular MVP?
Associated Press. So members of the Associated Press get votes. I'm not sure which members.
What do they judge?
They just put a vote in, like who they think should be who it should be. Like so they vote. They take a look at their stats, how it compares to other stats of other players at their position.
Okay.
Stats compared to historically in their position, like how it compares in those rankings, how good their team is, how good they performed in big games.
And then so from there, like, well, do you win any money? You just get a trophy.
You get a trophy, like you may get like a car or something.
You may.
Depends on who's
It's like Wheel of fucking Fortune.
It depends on who's sponsoring the MVP trophy that year.
And when is it given out?
So the regular season one is given out at the awards ceremony, which is like the week leading up to the Super Bowl. They host it at the week of the Super Bowl, like whatever the host city is.
Cute.
So they'll do the MVP, they'll do comeback player of the year, offensive player of the year for NFC and AFC, defensive player of the year for both, rookie of the year, coach of the year. Those are like the big awards that they'll present at those times.
Cute.
But once again, all those are dependent on a regular season performance.
Got it. Well, I think we pretty much covered NFL playoff topics. At all, right?
Yeah, I'm sure if there's anything we missed, we'll be able to cover it when the playoffs come around. But do you you don't have any last questions or anything?
The only question, no, I don't have. I honestly I was the only question I was going to bring up the NCAA topic that I have, but no, I honestly don't. Like, I had no idea that any of this was about the playoffs. Like, I thought it was just like best teams. I had no idea what wild card meant. Like, I'm like a bye week first. Like, why? Like, I didn't know any of the background information. So thank you. I salute you. I applaud you. Give you thumbs up. And I'm very happy because I feel like I definitely know like a lot more. So I hope that everyone listening definitely does too.
Hell yeah.
But stick around because we have some. I have a question about the Heisman Trophy. So now I know that this is not the NFL topic. This is an NCAA topic.
NCAA, but super relevant because the finalists were announced this past weekend, and the Heisman Trophy winner will be announced this upcoming Saturday in New York.
Okay. So the Heisman Trophy is like what we were saying, the MVP of the college football. So
Yes.
NCAA is college football. The Heisman Trophy winner is the college football MVP.
Yes.
Total.
Yes. The verbiage that the Heisman people in the NCAA use is the most outstanding player.
Okay. Like, period. Like, it has to be in life, in football, like all well-rounded human being, right?
No, mostly just football.
I thought it was like they do good in the community too.
I'm sure that could be a piece of it, but
Okay.
maybe the award that you're thinking about that's about like all about being good to the community
Yeah.
is back to the NFL. It's the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Oh, okay.
But
Never
back to
mind.
NCAA and Heisman Trophy, yeah, it's all about performance on the field.
Okay. So the Heisman Trophy, that's getting announced this weekend.
Yes, Saturday.
And so like you win it, what happens? Like then you have a better chance of getting into the NFL?
No, you don't necessarily have a better chance of making it to the NFL. Like your product has already been out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Have Heisman Trophy winners won and not gone to the NFL?
no, but there have been Heisman Trophy winners that win the Heisman Trophy and not done well in the NFL
Okay.
and like burnt out very quickly.
Yeah.
But no, it's just very prestigious. It's like, it's a classic trophy. There's so much history behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around forever. It's a very small group of men that get to raise that trophy. And so like anyone that has ever played a game of football, like whether at any level, like start from when you're 8 years old, you know what the Heisman Trophy is, and it's like a dream of yours to win the Heisman Trophy. So it's like more like a dream, and it's more of
People want to win the Heisman Trophy
hell yeah,
because it's like the college MVP.
I'm the most outstanding player in college football. Like that's
Got
crazy.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the people that are up to win it, they have to be nominated, right?
Yes, so they're nominated by the voters.
Who do you think's gonna win?
Travis Hunter. So the four finalists are Travis Hunter of Colorado. I can never say the second guy's name from Boise State. You want to try to give it that one over?
Ashton Gianti
Yeah, him.
from Boise State.
Yeah, he's if it was any other year, he'd win it because he's having a tremendous season.
Yeah.
But Travis Hunter is more than likely to win it, and then the other two are Dylan Gabriel of the Oregon Ducks and Cam Ward of the Miami Hurricanes, both quarterbacks.
Cute.
The reason why Travis Hunter is going to win it, I believe, is because he plays offense and defense.
So he's just like amazing all the way around.
Yeah, like so he's definitely going to go to the NFL. Like he might come to the Patriots, for example.
Oh, and that's why you have a freaking soft spot for him.
No, I don't have a soft spot for him. I just think like no one has done what he's doing in a very long time. Like not only does he play offense and defense, he's dominant. Like he may win All-American for his wide receiver and defensive back, which is like
I don't even know what that means, but sure. Like, so he's just so good.
Yeah, he's incredible. He plays offense and defense. He doesn't come off the field. He literally plays every game on, like, he doesn't get any rest. He is dominant no matter what, and it helps that he's playing for Coach Prime and Deion Sanders in Colorado, because a lot of attention comes with that. But yeah, he's gonna win it.
Okay, well, amazing. Well, good luck to all of the boys this weekend that are coming to New York to see who's gonna win the Heisman Trophy.
I will say one thing about the running back from Boise State that I can't say his name, Ashton Genty.
Ashton. Why are you saying Ashton?
I don't know. I can't say his name.
Ashton.
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 So Boise State, they made the college football playoff. We'll talk about that next week or whatever. But he is going for the most rushing yards ever in a single season in college football, which would be a crazy feat. He's less than 200 yards away. He's currently fourth ever. And so he has 2,497 rushing yards.
That was a rushing yard.
A rushing yard is when, so you're on offense, right? Your team has the ball.
Okay.
Your quarterback hands you the ball and you run with it.
Okay.
He doesn't throw it to you, he hands it to you.
Okay.
So that's a rushing yard.
Okay, so he needs to get 200 more.
A little bit less than 200 more. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's been averaging over 200 a game. So
possible.
He may get it. So we'll see when the playoffs roll around.
Amazing. Well, good luck to all you Heisman Trophy finalists. So let's get into our picks. Let's get into our picks. So obviously this week it's a little bit different. Like we said, we skipped the sick puppy and interesting cat. We are not doing our double D's threes. We're just getting into our picks and things you may have missed, and then we're out of your hair. But why we still have you? The picks. The winner herself is talking. As of recently, I don't know. Okay, don't as of recently. The number one seed in the pick'ems between me and you. It's me. 23-19. 23 wins, 19 losses to your 21-21. She's finally come back. I've been struggling. I've been inching week by week, brick by brick. And I finally built the house. And here I am, standing tall with a winning week, winning streak, winner period over you right now. How's it feel? Amazing. Thank you for asking. So I'll give you my picks. Ladies first, of course. We'll start off with the wins.
Sure.
So this week's picks, I'm picking the Chiefs versus the Browns. The Chiefs are 12-1. The Browns are 3-10. The Chiefs are a minus 4.5. I'm picking the Chiefs. The Dolphins at the Texans. The Dolphins are 6 wins, 7 losses. Texans are 8 wins, 5 losses, minus 2.5. I'm picking the Texans. And then last but not least are the Bears at the Vikings. The Bears are 4-9. 4 wins, 9 losses. Vikings are 11 wins, 2 losses, minus 6.5. I'm picking the Vikings. Chiefs, Texans, Vikings.
Awesome.
What about you?
Me, our first game is the same. Kansas City.
Do you have any things that you would like to say?
About you? You went 2-1 last week. I went 0-3. Overall record, I'm down 2 games. You're 23-19. I'm 21-21. Still at 50%. Not bad. But I feel a 3-0 week coming my way. But that means that you're going to have 1 win at least because it's the same thing. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to win. They're going to beat the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland by more than 4.5 points. No doubt about it. Next up, I have the New York Jets minus 3.5 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I picked against the Jaguars last week. Somehow Mac Jones pulled it out of his ass. I don't know how. But it's not going to happen again.
Okay. Amazing.
Aaron Rodgers versus Mac Jones. Aaron Rodgers versus Mac Jones. Aaron Rodgers. Don't overthink it. And then a team that we talked about a lot today, Cincinnati Bengals, minus 4.5 at Tennessee. No doubt about it. They're like we said, their coach is telling them how many they have to win, and so they're gonna win against a far inferior team in the Tennessee Titans, especially coming off a big win against the Dallas Cowboys.
That they weren't supposed to win, but
they weren't supposed to, no, but they finally got a bounce that went their way, and I think that the momentum's going to carry them into this upcoming weekend.
Sure. Well, thank you for your picks. Let's get to things you may have missed. Things you may have missed, of course, we have to talk about. Obviously, we discussed all things NFL, and it's on everyone's ears. What does Rachel think? What does Rachel think? It's on your mind, I know. Juan Soto has officially signed with the New York Mets for 15 years for $765 million. Meanwhile, the Yankees offered 16 years with $760 million, but it wasn't enough because he's greedy, and I'm very upset with him. And I'm not happy with him at all. I think that the only reason why he looks as good as people think that he looked is because he was playing in the playoffs with someone like Aaron Judge, who's amazing in regular season but didn't do well in the playoffs, and makes him look even better in the playoffs, and that's the reason why he's also getting such high numbers. But Juan Soto, I'm very mad at you, and I thought that it would have been really cool if you just stayed a Yankee, but you're not a true like that. You're just a weirdo. So be a freak somewhere else. Bye. Have fun at the fucking New York Mets. Have fun going to Queens, loser. That's what I have to say. Congrats, loser. See ya, loser. We're going to win the World Series without you, loser. The Mets aren't going nowhere, loser. The Mets are losers, loser. Freak. Get out of my face. I'm over Juan Soto.
Imagine the drama that would go into if there was a Subway Series for the World Series.
That would be crazy. There's going to be a Subway Series in May. I saw it already. They're already advertising it. Don't be advertising that.
Why?
I just can't. The Yankees are you going to the Mets from the Yankees, it's a downgrade. It's literally a downgrade. And then it's to take $5 million more. Okay, buddy. For almost $1 billion, I'm just rounding up, of course, but literally $1 billion
More than
contract.
3/4 of the way there.
This is the craziest contract ever. And I
Ever.
just really just think it's so crazy. Like, I think that he was literally just like, I'm going to take whatever money is the most.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he was.
But like $5 million, like that's really gonna fucking matter to a $765 million deal.
Well, I think it's very clear that his goal was to get the most money possible. Can't blame him. But
I can blame him.
it is crazy that it's only $5 million more than what the Yankees offered. Sure, but what I will say is that I don't think that there was any way that the new owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen, the guy that they
I saw
wrote billions out
after.
yeah. There's no way that he was going to be outbid. Like, I'm sure what he told Juan Soto and Juan Soto's agent, Scott Boras, is whatever the biggest offer is, come back to me and I'll give you a better offer. Like, I think that's why these negotiations took so long, is that it was just like one of those auctions that, like, just the bar keeps getting raised and raised.
Okay, well, have fun with all your fucking budget going to Juan Soto.
Right, and I think that's why it's going to end up being a good thing for the Yankees and the Red Sox that they didn't land this guy, because it's far too much money to be paying, even in a sport where there is no salary cap. You still have a budget. Like,
Whatever, hope you blow all your budget, and then you're gonna need. You can't even have like a new freaking train going to your station or anything fun and funky like that because you spent all your damn budget on Juan Soto. Losers.
I did see a fun fact that with like the difference in taxes between Massachusetts and New York, even though the Red Sox offered $60 million less or $65 million less, he would have taken home more money playing for the Red Sox than.
The Red Sox aren't a question, okay, Bub? Like, I love you so much. Like, the Red Sox are not a question. They weren't a question. Like, you keep adding them into the equation. They were never part of the equation.
They were.
No, it wasn't. The Red Sox are not part of the equation.
They
were not in the conversation. You keep putting them into the conversation.
You know, you're very disrespectful to the Red Sox. Like, you're only fueling my fandom for them.
Okay, fuel your fandom for them. I don't care. See you in the World Series. Oh, wait, they weren't there. They weren't even in the playoffs.
They've won more World Series in both of our lifetimes than the Yankees have.
The Yankees have won more World Series
Ever.
period than any other of your fucking sports teams combined. So shove that up your freaking butt.
Yeah, they were all back in like the 1940s.
Well, guess what? They still won. Does a playoff not count? Does a win not count? So now wins don't count because they're a little bit farther back. So is that what that means?
No, it's just
Doesn't make
it's
any
a wild
freaking
thing to
sense.
brag about.
It's not a wild thing to brag about. It's fucking wins to brag about. That's what it is. Loser. That's what I have to say to you. Don't be a fucking freak right now to me.
All I'm saying is that you're saying.
Don't be a freak is all I'm going to say. And if you say anything back to me right now, I swear to freaking God.
In closing.
Yeah, in closing. I'll close it.
You're calling my team irrelevant.
I'm not calling your team. I'm saying you're bringing it up. It's so fucking irrelevant. It's like literally like.
It's irrelevant that he wants to bring home the most amount of money than the team that he would have brought home.
It's like literally the most random sauce thing you're bringing up. Like, it's literally like.
It's not random. We're talking about money.
No, but you're literally bringing stuff up, and it's like literally like imagine like you're talking about like a trade between like I don't fucking know who's a quarterback, like fucking Drake May for the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, whatever. I'm like, oh, but the Dallas Cowboys wanted him too. Like, no one fucking no, stop.
That's always part of the conversation.
Okay.
Who was the other team that could have gotten him?
There is, Bubba, it was the Yankees versus the Mets. Like, why are you adding the taxes from Massachusetts in it?
Because his whole objective was to get the most amount of money
You
possible.
should ask Mark Wahlberg about this.
Fuck Mark Wahlberg.
Exactly. So?
His whole goal was to get the most amount of money. He would have got more money if he
I'm
went to
seeing
Boston.
something really weird on our paper. It says Bill Belichick agrees to be the next head coach at ?
I left it empty so that you wouldn't know.
Ooh, who is it?
University of North Carolina.
That was very anticlimactic. Wait, is that Tar Heels?
Yeah.
How bizarre. Where Drake May was?
Yeah, very random.
This feels weird. So he's the next head coach there?
Yeah, they came to an agreement, but they haven't officially announced it. I don't know
He wants
why.
to go into college sports. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't really understand it myself,
amazing. Okay.
but I'll be interested to watch. Interesting part of that deal is that I think the reason why he's really doing it is just because he misses coaching. I think he's losing his mind, not coaching, and wants to be in full control of whatever situation he goes into.
Got it. That makes sense.
But the second part of that is that part of the contract, allegedly, is that his person following him, his successor,
Yeah.
he's making them agree that they will hire his son as his successor, Steve Belichick.
Oh my God. That is like so fucking, what's that word? Nepotism. Nepo baby. Steve Belichick. Like, is he going to like feed him with a bottle too? That's weird. You don't think that that's weird? If it was literally anybody else other than Bill Belichick, you don't think that that's weird? Yeah, you don't think that that's fucking weird and that's fucking fucked up?
I don't think it's fucked up.
It's weird. Like, your son can get a job
He has a job.
with his dad.
Currently, he's with the Washington Huskies,
Who?
the college football team in Washington that was in the national championship last year.
You think it's weird?
It's definitely, I mean, there's a bit of nepotism.
He's
there
not
for
your
sure.
coach anymore. Let it go. He's literally Mark Wahlberg's coach. Let it go. Let it go.
He's more of my coach than Mark Wahlberg's coach.
Okay.
Bengals kicker, Cade York. As we mentioned,
Sure.
the Bengals played the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
His girlfriend is a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. So that was just a little interesting side note.
She'd probably like, ooh, like, yeah, like she's like rooting for her team, but like, is she rooting for her man's?
People are asking.
Was she even like as like peppy? Does she have pep in her step when she's cheerleading?
Well, I'm sure she would need to because freaking Jerry Jones, if she didn't, would come down and just make sure she got fired on the spot. Oh.
The Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Yeah, spot on.
I love the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders so much. They are. I can't wait for the next season of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders to come out. They're like they came out with a season 2, and like all the girls are just like popping off on social media. So I'm very excited to see.
It's already out?
It's not out, but like it's like in filming.
Gotcha.
So it
She'll
just
be on there. I'm sure there'll be a storyline in it.
100%. I'm sure.
And then lastly, the New York Rangers, the hockey team, they traded their captain.
Why?
Jacob Trouba. Apparently that they didn't want him anymore.
That's a little weird. Mm-hmm. You would think that like your captain you wouldn't trade.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
There's a whole lot of drama going into that. I could go on for like another 20 minutes. But I'll save you and just give you that information that he was traded.
Thank you. Maybe we can get into it not next week, but the week after maybe. Who knows?
Perhaps.
But thank you so much. That was honestly such a great episode because you explained honestly a lot to me that I really didn't know. Like playoffs, non-playoffs, all of it.
I appreciate your questions.
Thank you. Appreciate your honesty.
Your genuine curiosity, if you will.
A lot of it was written down, so that's why like some of my questions felt like little, how is this? Like that. Like, but yeah.
That's called being prepared.
Yeah, but I'm being prepared.
Yeah.
So
Move over, Sean Evans.
yeah, seriously. Hot ones.
Yeah.
I'm a well-prepared interviewer.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing people who
Yeah.
know the playoffs.
Yeah.
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 So, well, thank you.
Thank you. Next week we'll go over college football playoffs.
Perfect. Thank you so much for explaining everything to me, for being the best co-host a gal like me could ask for. And thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of your favorite sports drama podcast, The Double Dose. Please, if you like this, if you find this interesting, if you're like, wow, I need my friends to know what the NFL playoffs are all about, like, this bitch don't know nothing. Send the link. Drop the link. Say, listen to the Double Dose. We tell people, we were literally online at Chipotle. A lady was asking me, said, oh, we have a great podcast that you should listen to. The Double Dose. So thank you guys for listening. We love you very much. If you gotten to this point, kisses to you on your little forehead. Let's end it with a clink.
Cheers. Love you.
Cheers. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of your favorite sports drama podcast, The Double Dose, the drama of sports. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to our podcast wherever you watch and listen, and give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Double Dose Pod. Thank you.